Curtis Calhoun here with MMA News, and my next guest, you probably recognize him from The Ultimate Fighter, the UFC, and now is one of the top coaches in MMA today. It's James Krause from Glory MMA and Fitness in Kansas City. How's it going, James?
Good, man. How about you?
I'm doing very well. I appreciate the time once again. First question for me. What led you to this decision to walk away from fighting, where you felt completely comfortable with walking away and putting your sole focus towards coaching?
I think I made that decision quite a long time ago, if you want the truth about it. I don't know. At some point, this has got an end, right? Like, I'm 36 years old. I've got probably, I don't know, 70, 80 fights pro and amateur. Like, my body's starting to wear down. At some point, it's got to be done. So I don't really have a desire to go through like an 8-10 week camp again. I don't have a desire to cut weight anymore. Like, it's not fun for me like it used to be. So I feel like I'm in a good spot to walk away from the sport and be happy about what I've done, be proud of what I've done. And I feel like that there's no better time than now. Why keep taking the risk?
How big is it to be able to walk away on your own terms as well? Because you see guys like in the past in the UFC, like Chuck Liddell, Anderson Silva, guys that have almost been kind of pushed away from the UFC in terms of, losing streaks and all that, and almost not really being forced to retire, but almost being encouraged to retire. So how great does it feel to be able to walk out on your own terms?
Well, going out on my own terms was one of the things that I really wanted out of this, right? And I never wanted somebody to have that tough, weird discussion with me about how I don't have it anymore and stuff. I never wanted that. So I think that it was really important for me to go out on my own terms, to go out whenever I thought I was done, and not anybody else telling me or having those tough conversations, because they are hard, and I don't want anybody to do that. And I also always said that I would rather people talk about me leaving a little too soon than a little too late. So we see that every week. There's a guy that's fighting every week, every single week. It seems like, man, that guy probably shouldn't be fighting anymore. We see it every single week. And I just didn't want to be that guy, man. I didn't want to be that topic of discussion. And I'm proud of what I've done. I can walk away as a competitor, as a fighter, and tell you that I'm proud of what I've done. I'm happy with what I've done. I'm happy with my career, proud of my career. And it's just time. I think the great thing for me is it's not like I'm leaving. I still get to make the walk every weekend. I still am very heavily involved with it. I still am very much a part of the sport that I love. So I think that makes the transition much easier for me as well than most fighters.
I was about to ask about that too, because I feel like a lot of fighters and just a lot of professional athletes in general, you look at the NFL, NBA, MLB, mixed martial arts. I feel like a lot of athletes, when they get to that point of retirement, they're almost kind of scrambling to figure out what's next, right? So how blessed do you feel to not have that issue and to be able to transition without issue?
I think I spent most of my early parts of the UFC doing a good job, like investing into other things and making sure that I was financially set when I did decide to hang it up, regardless of if coaching was a thing or not. So I feel very fortunate to have learned those things and educated myself on those things, because honestly, that it's I would say 98% of the fighters, they don't have a plan, and they start scrambling whenever whenever the light is at the end of the tunnel. So it's they don't plan very well. Most people don't, because if you knew about finances and you were super, super intelligent, you probably wouldn't fight for a living. And that's not a shot on I'm not saying fighters aren't smart or anything like that, but for the most part, they're just not educated. There's a difference. So I think that I'm very fortunate, and with my ability to be financially free and not have to worry about that. The transition's easier for sure. I'm very, very blessed in that regard.
Absolutely, man. Well, I want to switch gears a little bit here to talk a little bit about this new venture you got going on with coaching, man. Talk to me a little bit about, first off, your cornering philosophy during your fights, because a lot of your fighters that I've talked to, Jeff Molina, most recently, has really talked about your philosophy of staying upbeat in the corner and encouraging. So I just kind of want to get an idea of what your philosophy is when you're in those moments and in those corners and during fights.
Yeah, I think it's different for every athlete, right? Like, one of the things I do is I make all my athletes take a personality test, and it kind of tells you how you can talk to them, the way they want to be talked to, the way they want to be communicated to. Like some of the guys, you can scream and yell and call them names and call them a piece of shit and get after them, and they'll respond very well. But other people, you can't do that too, right? So you have to understand your athlete and how you can talk to them. And does your athlete need technical advice? Do they need motivation? Do they need a combination of both? And I think to be a good cornerman, especially in between rounds, you need to know those things, right? Like, is this person lacking? Are they losing? Are they winning or losing because of a lack of technical advice, or is it motivation? Are they down? Are they frustrated when they shouldn't be? You just need to understand. You got to be able to walk into the room and read the room really well, And I think that I do think there's good coaches and then there's good cornermen, and very few are good at both. And I do think that I'm good at both, and I think I'm a better cornerman than I'm a coach, because I don't, for whatever reason, I feel like I can see these things. I can see the ranges changing. I can see the setups coming, and there's usually tells. It's a lot easier to see from the outside than it is from the inside. So, I don't know. It's I guess my philosophy would be, it just depends on my athlete, really. We're just trying to win. I want to win. That's my philosophy, is win. So whatever I see that I feel like is the most urgent, most important thing to handle is where I'm going to go after. If it's technical, I'll start shooting technical advice. If it's and dude, sometimes people make it. I've seen guys like just make it crazy technical. It's like, you got to fire the 1-2, and sometimes that's there. But sometimes your fighter just needs to walk forward and throw a 1-2. Like, just keep walking them down, just throw more. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's simple, and I think you got to, just to be able to see that, visualize it, and then vocalize it is very important to your athlete.
I feel like a lot of casual MMA fans, when they hear on the broadcast and they hear the cornermen, some cornermen yelling and screaming at their fighters and getting in their face and heated, they get really uncomfortable. So I kind of want to get your thoughts on that, because you mentioned how it's different for each fighter, right?
Whenever you're coaching an athlete, typically that person knows them so well. They know them so well, and this isn't always the case, but I would say 8 times out of 10, the coach knows what they're doing, man. And I will say this: there are some bad coaches, and I don't mean like the guys that are in the game and have been in the game. Nobody's bad, right? Like, but there's some guys that you see it like that have just like blatantly lost their athlete a fight. You know what I mean? Like, it's typically like, I don't know, maybe it's their only athlete in the UFC, and I don't know. You know what I mean? It doesn't happen a ton, but it does happen. And so I think for the most part, I'm going to lean towards the favoring the coach. Man, the coaches know their athletes. Like, if you're here any amount of time at all, you know your athlete, man. And you don't even have to be here to know your athlete. And I think if somebody's yelling at them, it's they know, you know what I mean. They know, like, there's guys that you can't just go in and talk like this to them, because they're gonna be like, they're not gonna get riled up. And there's guys you got to scream at, but if you scream at some of them, they'll break down. So. Man, I'm always going to favor the coach in that regard, because they know their athlete. Does that always mean they're right? No, that doesn't always mean they're right. But I can tell you right now, the damn people at home sitting on the couch don't know more than the coach usually, So it's we're just trying to win fights. That's, you know what I mean? That's what it boils down to. Is I got to think that the coach is doing everything that they can, the best of their ability, to try to win the fight. That's all I can say. It's easy to criticize from the couch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally understand, man. And one of the guys you've been working with right now, Brandon Moreno, want to get your thoughts on his last performance, and how great has it been to be able to work with a champion like that?
I mean, he's great. He's obviously he's the epitome of a champion. He trains like a champion. He lives his life like a champion. I mean, his diet, everything he does is geared towards being a world champion. Everything he does is geared towards being a world champion, and every decision that's made does it put him one step closer to being a world champion? And I think it shows. His work ethic is genuinely. I've never seen anybody work as hard as him, and I mean that. Like, I've never seen anybody work like he does, man. And his mindset is that of a champion. He wants to win. He wants to compete. He's not afraid to fight. As far as his performance goes, I thought he looked excellent. And listen, man, I understand what I got. You know what I mean? Like, I understand he was a world champion before I got him. But I will say that I think it was very apparent that there was some improvements made, not just for myself, but the entire coaching staff of Brandon, and I think there were some differences. I think he made some really great adjustments before the fight and during the fight. And I don't know, I'm not here to say those things would or would not have happened before, but I'm here to say that I know what I got was a world champion before, but I do feel like there was a big difference in his plan of attack, his skill, his stance, his balance, all that stuff from his new team.
And how does that make you feel in terms of when he's looking for that next gym, that next coach, the fact that he picks you and your team? How great does that make you feel?
I mean, obviously, that's amazing, man. Any athlete picking me is great because this is a this is a very important part of their life, right? Like we're not playing around. This is not a ball game. This is not a sport, like these guys are fighting. It's very primitive and they're just trying to survive in there. So for any athlete to pick me to guide them through that I don't take that lightly. So any athlete I'm very appreciative of, but especially a world champion, you know what I mean? Like it's great that he picked, he chose me. He could have went anywhere in the world. And he probably could have won a world title anywhere in the world. I don't know. He's amazing. He's an amazing athlete. He's a world champion. He's probably going to be a world champion anywhere. But I'm glad he picked me. I think we mesh really well together. I think we have fun together. And I think he kind of just I think he just needed to have fun again. Find that fire again. Not that he got burnt out, but I feel like there was no direction. He wasn't sure of the direction he wanted to go, what he was supposed to be doing, and I feel like him and I have fun together. We mesh together. We talk fights. I think he likes me being a nerd in the sport. I think he likes that. I'm bringing new ideas to him. I think he likes that, new concepts. I think he likes that. I think he just wants something new every day, and he doesn't have to worry about what's going to happen.
Couple more questions for me, man. Once again, I really do appreciate the time. I know you got a lot going on. I want to touch a little bit on your time on The Ultimate Fighter as an alum. Do you feel like the show is the product that it once was? Because you remember the earlier seasons of The Ultimate Fighter, obviously, it was your stereotypical reality show, right? All the drama, the fights, you get to learn a lot about the fighters too. So I kind of want to get your thoughts on the state of The Ultimate Fighter. And do you feel like it's as valuable as it once was?
I mean, there's definitely value to the show still, no doubt. But to say that it is as valuable as it once was, I think would be a lie. And I can't imagine anybody that's been in this game long enough would tell you otherwise. At one point it was on, was it Spike TV, and then maybe even like it was on huge networks, and now it's on ESPN Plus. Which, listen, man, I love what they're doing with ESPN and ESPN Plus. It's just not the same. Like, we're talking about mainstream cable. The show was on cable TV. It's different. The viewership was insane then. So to say it's the same would be a lie if you're asking me. But it's still great value. I think it's a great show. I think it's a great learning tool for a lot of these younger guys. But I just think that it's you can only do the same thing so many times before it gets a little stale. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, the show's been great, and I've been on it twice, coached on it as well. So it's a great show. It's just like I said, you can only do. I mean, how many times are they going to play Survivor over again? It's the same thing every season. You know what I mean? Like, are you telling me that Survivor, the latest seasons, are just as good as the ones before? I don't know. I don't watch the show, but I would venture to say that the ratings aren't near as good as it was when it first came out. It's just my guess.
I got you, man. And last question for me. I kind of want to just give you the floor to give out your message to the fans that have supported you over these years, your coaches and all that as you move to this next step in your journey.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, just everybody. I'm just appreciative of everybody. Not just the fans, coaches, media, the UFC, everybody. It's been special to me these last few weeks, winning the world title with Brandon and then retiring from fighting. It's been awesome to hear everybody's kind words about me and stuff like that. So obviously, I'm just grateful, appreciative, and it's weird because I say that, but it's like I don't feel like I'm here at fight week right now. What I mean? Like, it changed much. So however, I am grateful that I was able to make it to this level, compete at this level, stay at this level, be a part of it. And I think it's only going to help me with my experiences as a coach now. So I guess my message to everybody would be thank you for the support over the years. And I'll see you around.
Awesome, man. Well, James, it was great to chat with you. All the best with the rest of this upcoming fight week. And I'm sure we'll chat again soon, man. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you, man.